So what are you doing?
Nothing.
Nothing? Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.
All right. So, hi. We are back. Hi. I just finished smoking Moon Rocks. I am baked. I'm at Ganjahnistas with Kelly and Puff Dog and red-haired lady behind me, Tracy Lamore, and her hubby Dave came out even, and they're talking very loudly behind me with pa la 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 la. And on the line here we've got, let me see if I get everybody: Kim Cooper, Al Graham, Alicia Yushishin. What are you going by Dobberknockers or whatever it is now?
Honey Crisp.
Of it though.
Honey Crisp.
I like that one, Dobberknockers or whatever it was.
Oh, do more.
And Irene is here with us.
Green Irene.
Hey.
Did I miss anybody?
No.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, Tamara's here.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't call in Mary Jane because she's usually in bed at 9:00, right?
Yeah.
Although I do want to take a second and congratulate her on being 2 days, October 17th, 2018. She is the Toronto Sunshine Girl for Legalization Day.
Yes, she's wearing her colorful cannabis pants on there and representing the community.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah,
That's really good.
So, Al and Kim came up with this little bull session this afternoon. So, I'm just gonna sit here and mute the mic, and we'll hear who wants to say something, and I'll stick the mic in front of their faces. But we're listening.
Yeah. I thought it would be a great opportunity, being this is a historic day with the cannabis legalization. You know, yes, there are some problems with it, and yes, it needs some fixing. There's no doubt about that, but it is legalization. And I thought it would be an opportunity for all the hosts here on the Lifestyle Radio network to get together and have a bull session, just sit and talk. And, you know, we can't get together in one room, but we can all get together through technology into space here and discuss what we think of legalization, what needs to be changed. You know, maybe some of the things that we saw today, like Kim and I discussed earlier on the Pace Radio show, how a fellow in Winnipeg's already been charged $672 fine for consuming while driving a car.
Yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah,
and this is a great...
Listen, though. Here, I'm going to stop you guys. But last week, the guy would have got possession charges. And the could have been charged with trafficking. And he isn't. And he's driving away with his vehicle. He's driving away with his cannabis. And he's driving away without a charge. He's got a fine. Yeah, the fine's a bit exuberant, $674. But I'm telling you, that's saving that guy a whole hell of a lot of bullshit with legal fees and lawyers' fees and everything else. So that being said, not a deal. But last week, if this guy would have had this happen to him on Monday instead of Wednesday, he would have had trafficking charges.
Big time.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the exact point I made on the show as well, Tamara. And that's what I was just going to say, you know, and this is a great opportunity having all of us together on the show like this, because, you know, Tamara, you're in a different background out there in BC, and you know, we've got Alicia there in Saskatchewan. You know, Al, you're down in Southern Ontario. I'm in Northern Ontario. It's a different environment here again. So it affects us all on different levels and in different ways, because some of the provincial laws aren't the same, right?
Correct. The provincial laws are all different.
Tamara covered a lot of this on her show as well today. You know, we all had our own shows today, and I'm sure you had a great discussion. I know you had a great discussion on your show as well today, Tamara, about a lot of the shit going down that you see happening out in BC, right?
Absolutely. Never mind the fact that, just having the different frameworks. We've talked about this, I'm sure, on all our shows. That and the news has picked it up. The patchwork. I mean, BC only had one legal store open today. In this province, which is a huge province. Nova Scotia was, which is the highest consumers as it is. We're a little farther ahead. Even Ontario doesn't have a storefront mortar and stone store open today.
No.
You have nothing to label.
People could order it today. They could order it today, but they won't get it till the end of the week.
That's right. No, you won't get it.
That'll be delivered.
Yeah. Saskatchewan, how many do you have out there, Alicia, in Saskatchewan? How many mortar stores are out there? None?
Well, we had one in Martinsville, but the ironic thing is it's this, I guess, franchise who won 4 lottery tickets in Saskatchewan. Oh, there's no nepotism here. So there was 4 opportunities for 4 different entrepreneurs, but the pigs in our government gave it to one person, and that, ironically, was the only store that was open, so it was lined up from the time it was open until the time it closed. But it was selling out leads.
Right, and ironically, out here in British Columbia, we had the one store in Kamloops that was open, but both stores in Kimberley were open today. They say they're in the process of getting licensing, that their applications are in, and because the police chiefs of British Columbia have said they're not going to bust them right away, they're open.
And
they're not selling them.
They're looking outside today. The Hamilton Village dispensary is open here, and Natural Green Healing is open.
Yeah. Some of the dispensaries stayed open. A lot of them did close.
But they're not dispensaries. These guys have now rebranded. Tamarack Dispensary used to be a dispensary for patients and patients alone. Since the legalization, recreational market opened today, they have rebranded to Tamarack Cannabis Boutique, and they have gone into the rec market. So they have ridden off the backs of patients for 3 years in Kimberley, British Columbia, and now they are Cannabis Boutique. So, you know what I'm saying? How many are they going to, how many more patients are they going to throw under the fucking bus? And that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, for sure. And in Ontario, as Al said, we've got no brick and mortar stores here open at all today. And we won't until April. We're looking at April before we see our first store. So the only avenue we have in Ontario, the only dispensary that is a legal place to buy pot is the Ontario Cannabis Store, the OCS, which is online only. And you have to have a credit card. They're not taking Visa debit or any other form of payment except credit card.
Someone posted a screenshot of Indica's almost completely sold out.
Yeah, and a lot of issues on the site. Credit card only, a lot of misrepresentation of products. I went on and had a look around. They've got one product there, and the label on it, the brand of it, the whole name of it is called Sativa Drops. So I went in and I had a look at it, and it's indica based.
Hey
but here's another thing that Matt made clear.
Can I jump in for a sec?
Yeah, sure.
Tracy, come here, Tracy. Come close, really close. Hello? Can you hear her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm curious to know what Tracy thinks about today and how things have gone.
Oh man, I literally, I'm not even joking. I had a wash of emotions, from happy, celebratory to going to bed at night, starting to get worried. Then I woke up this morning. I was talking to Linda Fazio, and we had even a little cry about how this is affecting, some of our friends and access. And it's just literally a roller coaster. I feel like it's a big win, and nobody can take that win away from us. The stigma reduction and people not having to hide in their bathrooms and be terrified their neighbor might, report on them to CAS because they smoke weed or something.
Yeah. You see, but that's kind of removed now. We were joking out front, and I was like, "Come on, let's go outside. We can all smoke outside for not worry about it anymore."
I was just saying the same thing. I mean, though we're all medical, if I've always had to worry about friends that might be accompanying us and whether they could be comfortable. And now I don't have to worry. We can all just be free, and So
that's
right. Those things, it's a giant win. And of course, there's still work to be done, and other skirmishes and some big battles, but. It's like I related to we knocked down the death penalty in Washington State on Monday, whatever people think of that. But that doesn't mean there's no more. That's a huge win for us, but that doesn't mean there's no more wrongful convictions or prisoner abuse or any other thing. So it's still what we've done.
The work in progress.
Biggest thing to crush.
But I mean, Matt made a point today. Matt made a point today on this show.
Got to fight other battles.
Matt
sure.
It's the show today. Well, Matt made a point on my show today that this is for adult recreation use. This doesn't affect our patient no status, where we're still patients. We fought for our rights as patients in court. This is for adult use, and adult use only. So if you go into a store and say you've got fibromyalgia or something wrong with your back, you will be asked to leave that store because they're not there to help patients. They've made that really clear. This is for adult use only. Patients can go in and purchase whatever they want. It's not a dispensary. That'll be handled by the pharmacies, where they will have trained people that will have, your affliction in front of them and know what to give you.
That's Shoppers Drug Marts and stuff.
Drug Mart, right? Exactly. So that's where the line is a future that's going to be drawn, is that, these stores are now adult recreation stores, and then the pharmacies are going to take over for our medical purposes, whether we like it or not. But that's where we're heading with this, why we have to keep fighting for patients' ability to grow their own, because if the pharmacies get their hands on our plants, then what?
They can take over the LP dispensary, but the Allard decision still affords us the right to buy medicine from whoever we want.
That's
so
right.
That's why they can never eliminate that medical market.
The Allard case does not give us the right to buy from whoever we want. That is not how the ruling is stated. The Smith ruling gave us the ability to produce and use cannabis in any form. That's the Smith ruling. But when it comes down to the Allard ruling, there was nothing stated in any part of that said we could grow our own again. We're still, as patients, not allowed to share. So now with this legal, recreational market, we're allowed to share at least within the 30-gram limit. But as patients, we're not allowed to share.
No, there's a citation that I use from the Allard decision that says that patients are allowed to choose who they buy weed from because the LP weed system was deemed unconstitutional. I can email that to you.
That's not going to hold. Yeah, that's not the way it is, though, Alicia. Like that's not how the paperwork goes. And you might be able to use that in a court at some point in time, but at this point in time, that's not how it is. So, like I said, we are here now with a recreational adult consumption for adult use, and as patients, nothing's changed for us. We are still able to. Our limits have gone up. We have no storage limits now. Renewals are supposed to be going to be happening quicker for us. I don't know. Like I said, they say they're going to review it in 5 years. We're not 5 years there yet. So
no, well, this didn't have anything to do with the patient regime. Legalization was for legalization across the board for anybody of the age of majority that is legally allowed to consume, whatever that age of majority is in the province. It's a completely separate system from the medical system. They've said from the beginning that they were going to keep medical systems separate, and I pray to fuck that they do, because I don't want it rolled into one. One should never have anything to do with the other. I'm just glad that the allowable amounts that I'm allowed to have now are actually increased, because I have my medical prescription, which allows me X number of grams plus my carry amount. But now I also have on top of that the legal rec amount that I can carry in addition to my prescribed amount. So if anything, patients are better off under the new system.
And you have 4 extra plants to grow.
That's right. Yeah, you've got 4 extra plants you can grow on top of your prescribed amount. You've got 30 extra grams you can carry on top of your prescribed amount, and we no longer have storage caps on what we can keep in storage, because they have to make it unlimited, the same as non-medicinal. So, I mean, patients are better off with a legalized system in support of our medical system.
And in Ontario, you're exempted for the driving laws too.
Yeah, we are.
What did Derek say with what is it, section or whatever 117, right, of the driving? So in Ontario, you're exempt. In British Columbia, I believe medical patients are exempt from the driving laws as well. So, I think, like I said, there's been a lot of fear because of patients not realizing or understanding exactly where this was going to go. And now that we're going to see it roll out, and like I said, this is not perfect. I'm the one that says that as long as there's a crime attached to the plant, this is not legalization. And I stand behind that 110%. But like I said, the guy that got busted today, that drove away, even the one that got the possession one was $172, where was that? Somewhere else, Ontario, or there was one in Manitoba, one somewhere else too, that there was 2 that were pulled over today. They would have gotten charged with possession. That's a huge difference than walking away with a fine. So
everybody looks at alcohol being legal, right? You switch that around. Put a beer between that guy's legs instead of a joint. You know, he still, he get nailed hard. So if alcohol is legalized, why isn't, and it has crimes or criminal charges available to it, why isn't cannabis legalized?
Yeah. Well,
it's just not legalization. But back to the dispensary point, because I think it's an important point, is if you check on John Conroy's Facebook page, he has posted a notice that right now in the courts, what they're working on is including the dispensary system into the LP system so that we do have that choice, because that Allard decision does say that. I rely upon that quotation a lot in my legal work, and so that was the whole premise of the Allard decision.
But people can't sell it to the dispensaries. Here's the thing: the dispensaries are still going to have to buy from the licensed production. They're still going to have to go through the LCBOs. So you can have as many dispensaries as you want. They're still going to have to purchase from a licensed producer. So that doesn't. You can't divert medicine. Where are they going to get it? You can't purchase it from an illicit place. So these dispensaries can purchase from the places that they've been purchasing now, whether it's diverted medicine from a patient or whether it's coming from an illegal grower or whatever. The dispensaries will admit that that's where their product has been coming from. Well, that's not going to happen anymore, because if they get caught with that, then they're going to go to jail for 14 years. I don't care. You can call it a dispensary. You can call it a compassion club. You can call it an LCBO. If you're not buying from the LCBO, LBD, licensed producer, you're going to get busted.
I don't think anybody's disputing that at all, Tamara. But what we're saying is you have to have a dispensary model no matter what it is. Well, we're not disputing where the supply comes from, just the fact that the dispensary model has to be available. And until patients actually have hands-on access to a dispensary model type situation, then you're not meeting the terms of Allard. So Allard will stand until that happens.
They can't.
That's not going to happen until the edibles.
The fact that stores have to exist.
Yeah.
But that's not going to happen until edibles and extracts are once they're legalized.
That's part of this. That's probably part of this whole problem is that they legalize it separately, and where patients are involved in all this, and dispensaries are told to shut down and come back legally 6 months later. Even 6 months later, they're still not going to be able to come back with the products that they had for the patients beforehand.
Exactly.
So if they had legalized everything at once, then there's a possibility that those things that they would be getting at a dispensary now that would be available at a retail thing. So, that would help them try to do what they're trying to do, but they didn't do it that way. So.
And if I want to buy from the private market and the private market being no governmental control, that's my constitutional right, and I'll fight till the day that I die for that right, because I ain't putting no LP shit in my body, and that the Constitution gives me that right. It's just as simple as that.
Amen.
Their way around that is just to roll craft in with the LPs and hiring on a lot of these people, like, the House of the Great Gardener and stuff like that. Matt Barron and stuff like that have hired on. A lot of craft growers are signing on with LPs to become suppliers for those LPs so that LPs can carry craft product and non-LP grown product, because they know that's what the market is looking for.
Absolutely.
Quality over quantity. And that's the way the consumers are going to roll. And that's the only thing that we have to look forward to is the consumer base will rule. And whatever people are going to come out of saying is it's not going to be us that changes that. It'll be the consumers. It'll be the non-activists. It'll be the kids out there saying, I paid $59 for this garbage. That's what's going to change the system.
I was talking with the patient today, and they said that they had spent a pile of money on portable vaporizers over the last couple of years, and his thought was, now that cannabis is legalized, things like that could improve because more people will get involved in it because of the fact that now it's legal. It's not something that they're trying to make as a product behind the scenes and say it's for this instead of that.
Yeah, that's right. Offshoot products can now come out of the closet. They don't have to hide the fact of what we're actually gearing them for. And like you say, pretend they're for something else. We can
tobacco
say,
products, sticker on the bottom.
Maybe we can make it better if we actually talk about it.
Yeah.
This
is what it's being used for, because before, there was times like you couldn't even go into a store and say this is for cannabis because they were, So.
Yeah, for sure. Lots of offshoot businesses are going to happen with this. It's going to be a huge industry for this country, I think.
You know what? I've got an offshoot business sitting beside me, and I want to know what he thinks about it. Because I'm sitting here with Puff Dog. Come here for a second.
Awesome.
So, here, I'm just holding the mic up. Tell me your thoughts about it today.
Well, listen, we've come a long ways. It's been a real strenuous journey for many of us. Many of us have suffered significant harm at the hands of law. And to have that law change so that my kids and your kids aren't going to wind up with a criminal record and lose out on career opportunities for smoking a joint on a Saturday night.
Or even going down into the States again.
I think that's a significant victory for all of us.
Yep.
As a Canadian, am I completely happy? No, absolutely not. There's a lot of adjustments that are going to have to be made. But now we have an in. And as activists, we've got a real power situation here now where we can take this and run with it. This is our ball now as Canadians. And as Canadians, we have to demand that the government continue down this path of making laws better, not worse. We want to see fair and inclusive marketplaces for all Canadians to participate in. If this is our industry, then this industry belongs to all of us as Canadians, including the natives, the Native Canadians, the Indigenous people. Let's not screw them out of what they have coming to them by way of what our government's doing. And we need to reconcile with those people that have suffered greatly and lost families and lost their sense of community by being outed as criminals for smoking a joint, for God's sakes. They were smoking a joint. They never harmed anyone, not even themselves. So let's give everybody a fair kick at the can. That's what I say.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
If I had a clap track, I'd play it right now.
Yay!
You've been around a long time, dude. And I want to add something also. One thing that we cannot forget to mention is all of those who are not here that started this fight before us.
Yeah.
Okay, because there are a lot. There are a lot of victims and patients that are not here that should be. Michelle Rainey is one who I did not get the pleasure of meeting.
Alan Robin Barassa. There's another pair that started this actually fight. Al started the fight for the Section 56s, and they're gone too, both of them.
We've lost a lot over the years, that's for sure. I mean, it's been a rough road. And, a lot of it is paved in patient stories.
That's what got us here. Was people speaking out about their afflictions. People speaking out, people fighting in courtrooms for their rights and their access to something that they believed in, that we all believe in.
Yeah.
You know what? Joe Rogan's been doing his podcast for a very long time. He's been an advocate for a very long time. Montel Williams has been out there many, 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 many years. Okay?
Yeah. There's been a lot of sort of movie star advocates out there. Really, that's been part of this choir.
Yeah, we talked earlier. Woody Harrelson, he's another one.
He's been around a very, very, very long time.
And all the underground helpers.
And then there's those
underground helpers.
Then there's those quiet ones where if you're watching it's a movie or on a TV program, the clock will say 420.
Yeah, that's right. Just the little tidbits here and there.
By the way, Paula, what do you think? You got something you want to say? The Ganjahnistas wants to speak.
I don't even have the words for today.
That's how great it is. That's how great it is. Yeah, I know you're full of shit.
Yeah, it is.
There are a lot of people out there that are looking down at this. There are a lot of people out there that are suffering because of this. And unfortunately, us patients are being slipped under the rug, and I'm not going to sit back and just let it happen. I'm not. I know Paula won't. I know Tracy won't. Dave won't. I sure as fuck know Puff Dog won't.
Like I don't see no reason why the annual rallies that many people attend at the global marijuana marches
to have
and
those
stuff.
Anymore?
Well, see, that could be interesting.
They have to continue.
So
yeah, they have to continue.
I want to challenge somebody. I keep seeing the Dundas Square is for lease, and you can apply to lease it for your events. Let's get some cannabis events going there. If it is a public venue and they're offering it for lease, then we should be able to use it as well. Cannabis is now fucking legal. Let's see. Let's get Chris Goodwin in there again next year, or whoever else wants to go in there. What do you think, Al? Think maybe we should try and go in there? Have a big concert?
But that would be that. You're right. If the issue in the past was that the cannabis was illegal, and the fact actually they left Dundas Young and Dundas Square because it was just friggin' the event, the 420 event.
We outgrew the space.
Outgrew the site, right? Yeah. But like Queen's Park, it's a provincial government property, and part of the provincial laws talks about. It says certain government lands and parks. Yeah. And Queen's Park could be a place where we won't be able to legally consume, and that's where the home of the Global Marijuana March is.
Yes, but if they are offering, I've seen it every other day for weeks now, and if they are publicly offering the space for lease, there's no reason. They have alcohol events there. They have wine tasting there. They have farmers markets there. And why can't we have our markets too if cannabis is legal?
Yeah, they should.
Except we can't have a market because it's not legal to do sales outside of the
but you can have events.
Yeah,
you can hold events.
With respect to events, I've got a couple of questions that have
come
up.
Go right ahead, Irene. You've been pretty quiet tonight.
Hi there, I'm just listening in. But, here's a question. If we're allowed to do public events, and according to the law, the way that it's written, we can share up to 30 grams, is it possible to perhaps, host an event of an infused meal and sell tickets for that?
Well, see, that's edibles, right? And edibles aren't legal yet. But that's the big question. What if you buy an OCS of authorized product, and under Smith, we're allowed to turn it into our own edible extracts, according to Smith.
Exactly.
Even under legalization, they're not stopping a person from buying cannabis and making something infused at home.
Right. So could we host a private party? Could we host a private party?
That's a good question, Irene.
Yeah.
That's a really good question.
They're paying. They're coming to your place, and you're going to sell them a brochure, and you're going to just give them a free meal.
You sell tickets to
it's a donation.
Yep, donation.
It's a donation. Yeah, a donation. Yeah. And here's the thing with the cannabis cups. Everybody's all worried about the cannabis cups. And I'm saying, flower people, everybody's going to have 4 plants to grow. They're just going to have, just don't have extracts. Don't have edibles as entries. Don't have those entries. Have flower entry only. And then you've got people, the limit will be extraordinary if everybody's growing their own 4 plants. Don't deter people from having cups. Yeah, no, I think it's a great step forward with that too.
Yeah, and I think got a lot to dispute and protest. I mean, we've still got a lot that has to evolve and change. We can't just stand back and say it is. And without continued protest, how do they know we're still pissed?
Well, this is it. I mean, today was a great step forward in the battle. And we made some really good progress forward, but there's still a lot that needs to be, normalization, privatization has to be fought for because otherwise it will be stolen from us. Let's take a look at the income tax for God's sakes. Income tax was introduced during the wartime and it never went away. We've given up for the sake of normalization. We've given it into the hands of the government at this point in time. But we really still need to strongly fight for privatization, for normalization. The education of cannabis consumption itself will engage the people and prevent them from becoming the sheeple that we have allowed ourselves to become in our society.
Yeah, and we were just talking about that. The more people we can get to try it and consume and realize the use of this product, the more people the light bulb goes on, because that's what happens.
And you're not just talking smoking.
No, education
a lot of people
is
still think
empowering.
smoking.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and of course, combustion is the most wasteful, ineffective way to utilize cannabis. And I keep promoting vape, or ingest, or sublingual, even topical spa solutions. There's so many other ways to utilize cannabis that combustion is just silliness.
You know what? Ira and I had this conversation with Paula about combustion. And the reasons behind why he's not for it, and I understand it.
Yeah, well, I mean, amongst other things, THCs, all of the cannabinoids,
you're burning
are
off a
released
lot for one.
Absolutely. So what you're doing when you're smoking a joint is you're heating up the weed behind where that flame is, and that's what you're getting. But you're also taking in all that burnt plant material, and cannabis produces more tar than when it's burnt than tobacco does.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
The joints aren't good.
But I'm just going to reach over here and get a lighter so I can combust this joint in my hand.
I have a vaporizer.
I'll just step over here while I smoke this joint that I just finished rolling.
Yeah. And it's funny because I've always been a bong person. I've been a bong girl for 40 years. I've been carrying around a bong, but for the last 2.5 years, I guess, just over 2 years, last year for sure, I'm almost exclusively dabs now.
There, yeah, and see, I haven't tried the concentrates that's with an E-nail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now I haven't tried that kind of concentration yet, but I myself, the nostalgia of being able to smoke a joint, there's just something comforting about that, and that's how I was introduced to cannabis.
Dabs are like getting hot knives, no different. Dabs is just a fancy pair hot knife and oil.
I got the
smoker too, Irene. But you know what? I'll tell you, I'm a joint smoker too, and that's what I prefer. But since I've been using my Shatterizer, I've gone from $400 worth of weed to $100.
Yep.
Fabulous. Okay. And right there is the savings, and there's the difference between combustion and vaporizing.
How much money you spending on shatter? But how much money you spend on shatter?
I buy maybe a packet a month, so $35
at the most. It lasts longer. You go longer stretches between tokes. You consume
and
far
you ask
less.
Anybody who has been with me anywhere, I have my Shatterizer around my neck all the time in my hand, and I'm puffing on it. But I'm enjoying. You want some of that, Tracy?
Dollar value.
I grab my Shatterizer now.
Dollar value, I agree. Our dollar value since we've been on extracts over flour, it's gone to about half, probably a little under half.
I don't use as much, and I can go out. I've got my Shatterizer with me. I can go out. I don't have to light up a doobie. I don't have to roll up a doobie. I don't have to worry about smelling like a doobie.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I like about the portable vaporizer.
Unfortunately, right now in this climate, it's about the smell.
It is.
Okay, it's about your smell and how you smell. If you're a cannabis user in any form, medical or not, if you always have mints with you, if you always, don't sit in your car and get it all over you and stuff like that. If you're using a shatter pen, okay, you're not. There is a different smell to it, and they will learn that smell, obviously. But
we don't. Yeah, if we're using shatterizers or vaporizers, unlike combustion, we're not smelling like the south end of a skunk going north.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. But now you see, one of the things we weren't able to talk to Jack on the higher estate today with Ira because he there was something came up. I was going to ask him some questions about all that and really flat out, what is this? Is this true? And is that not true? So I'm going to save him for when Jack is on, and we're going to ask him a list of questions and get the answers, because Jack likes to give people those answers.
Yeah, and he's good for that. He's good for that, that's for sure. But it's been an amazing day. I mean, I stayed up till midnight, the stroke of midnight. Did everybody else stay up till the stroke of midnight last night?
Well,
no.
I did. I went to bed at like 7:30, and then Ira woke me up at 12:30, and we were chatting till 2.
Yeah. I was up. Did you make it? I know you were up for a while, Tamara. We all kind of bailed on you, and it wasn't quite midnight there yet.
Nah, you stayed up.
It's 3 a.m. here.
Yeah.
No, it was 2 a.m. for you guys if you stayed up. But I stayed up.
Yeah, I figured you would have. Yeah, I did here too. Of course you do, right? It's like theater, right?
Well, it's like, I was expecting something to happen. It didn't, of course, but you know what I mean? Like, I would feel like I was missing something if I hadn't, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I felt the same way. I had to experience, okay, it's midnight. It's actually legal right fucking now.
Yeah. Exactly. It's like New Year's. Nothing magical happens in front of you at New Year's unless it's man-made.
But you stay up anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
I didn't feel any different this morning, and the joint that I smoked before I went to bed was illegal. So, even though it was after 12.
I heard there were sleepovers in Montreal.
At the end of the day.
Probably.
What's that?
Oh, people were camped out in front of the damn stores at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. They sold $10,000 worth in 2 hours. There was, I think the one in Newfoundland, it opened up for 2 hours at midnight, and they sold $10,000 worth.
Crazy, right?
And they're sold out. I saw something was posted that they're sold out.
Sold out. Yeah.
Crazy.
Absolute craziness.
Well, that's why they got to allow.
Out of curiosity, how many of us have supported the silliness? How many of us jumped onto the OCS site, for example, or any of the government sites and made a purchase? I know I myself was not in support of the silliness when I saw those price tags and the ridiculousness of it, and when I think about the manipulation.
So you went to the site, Irene?
Tracy
I certainly looked at it. Yeah.
Dave went on the site.
I did not.
The OCS, and I was on there earlier. On there is one small picture about the size of a quarter of bud. That's the only bud picture on the fucking site on the cannabis page.
Well, I was on there. I was on there with bells on at midnight. At the stroke of midnight, I loaded that page.
Hold on one second. Let's hear what Dave has to say.
Okay, go ahead. Good morning. I checked it out earlier today because I could. Currently I'm with Tweed. I haven't ordered from them, and since I got renewed, I got one order just to get the container, and that was about it. So I want to check this out because you're going to need those containers too, apparently, because they want it to be official, whatever. So
that's right.
I checked out. It's like $7.95. I can't remember what the strain was. It said it was like 20% THC. That was the highest I could find on there for $7.95. So I got 1 gram of that. And then I got 1 gram of something else that was like 17 or 18 is the highest that I could find. And I think that one was it was more than $10. My total came out to like 24 or something. It was like a $5 shipping charge. And I just got 2, so I'd have a little container. I just checked out the 2 things. And then once I'm done, I've got a little container. I can keep it in. It's all official, and I won't get in trouble by.
So it costs you about $30 for the 2 grams, Dave?
I think it was 2 or 3 business days. But then we've got the potential this Canada Post. Because they're going to be swamped, and I'm sure they're going to be out by tomorrow. And then you've got the potential of a Canada Post strike coming up next week, which is a whole other story. And my concern is not for recreational use, but for medical users. From what I know, when I'm with Tweed, if I'm ordering from them, I can't go to Shoppers and buy it. I can't, it's not available anywhere. I have to get it through mail order. So if they actually cut off mail, is Tweed and all these LPs out there that patients depend on, are they going to hire a private company to do the delivery?
Okay, I'll tell you, this happened before. This happened before a couple of years ago.
that aren't are able to access their medicine through the official, the LPs. And, I think that's grounds for like a court challenge right there. You're impeding the rights of patients to be able to get their medicine.
Absolutely.
They use couriers.
They use Purelator.
Labor action, but not if it's going to be at the expense of, patients not being able to get their medicine. So that's a quandary. So I don't know if there's any listeners out there, who may be impacted by this, who want to launch some form of challenge against it to stop it on the grounds that, this is going to impede their ability to get their medicine. As far as I'm concerned, it's an unconstitutional move. And if we're solely relying on Canada Post to get the stuff to us, you know what I mean? Like, it's a catch-22 right there.
Yeah, they just use Purelator, Dave. That's what they did with the last postal strike for deliveries with the LPs. They just switched to Purelator.
Yeah, and actually, Dave, if I can address the need for
delivery.
Yeah. So Purelator
currently you use Purelator. ReadyCan is who I'm with, and they offer next day delivery with Purelator for $15 right now.
Right. Right. Now, adding to that, there was some concern he's saying about the bottles from the LP.
And so if I want to go to a dispensary, the cops raiding the dispensary, you're not licensed, sorry, so I can't get it at the dispensary. I can't get it online because Canada Post is on strike and the thing's sold out anyway.
Or you don't have a credit card.
Oh yeah, if I don't have a credit card, what am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
the cars are all going to be labeled, and they're all going to be dated. It's like when it comes from our licensed producers, right? Yeah. They're all dated. So if you don't order,
we're going back to that, are we? Going back to overgrowth.
I won't have any labels.
That you have to use a credit card. So then they'll run your credit card and you can never
exactly right.
Well, that's changed this week.
Right up.
This week, immigration said that they are going to allow people who work within the Canadian cannabis industry free travel between the U.S. and Canada.
Yeah. Which, as long as they're not on business.
Maybe we can take our meds with us.
Yeah, and right now, if you order your meds from an LP and you're a patient,
state to state, legal state.
I think Al's having a conversation, not on somebody off the radio.
Is cannabis?
I'm not sure if I'm supposed to give the floor or not. But so, if you order and you're a patient from an LP, you can use a Visa debit. You don't have to use a credit card.
Shop stuff.
Apparently, you can't do that at the OCS store.
No, the OCS store, you have to have a credit card for rec.
Our battery died here, so they can't hear you. Sorry.
If you're a patient, you can use your Visa debit or you can use e-transfer.
Yeah.
But for rec, you got to have a credit card. And for delivery, they're just going to use Purelator.
Yeah. Well,
so that takes care of the delivery.
They've already hired Purelator on as their one company is only using Purelator or UPS or something like that, and not even considering using Canada Post.
Yeah.
So I don't remember.
Now, on another note, out of curiosity, and I kind of wonder about the product that's actually coming from the government, and I say this because I know a couple of LPs that have markers that appear in the urinalysis that the doctors check to ensure that you're utilizing licensed producer product or licensed
I had
product.
Well, no way.
Yeah.
My doctor's never asked me for a piss test, and if he did, I tell him to get stuffed.
Yeah.
Well, I know
at
several clinics in our area.
That's not going to work because a lot of people grow their own, so none of those genetic markers will be there.
Right. My understanding those piss tests are to look for those harder drugs and to make sure that you are consuming the cannabis.
Never work. I haven't heard of anything like that. I would have to see actual documentation telling me that's happening because I don't.
Doesn't Dr. Price want you to come back every 3 months too? Like there are some clinics that expect you to come back.
Well, but you know what? Hold on, guys. Okay.
Follow-up is different.
I am type 2 diabetic. And my doctor, by regulation, I believe, whoever that may be, has to do a checkup every 3 months, a blood test, blah, 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 which I need to start getting back to. So if when I go to his clinic and he says, I want you in every week, I'm there. We're talking health here. And if you're not willing to commit completely, what's the fucking point? What, am I just going for a license? I might as well just fucking pay for it.
Body Stream, one of those sign-in clinics, they require all their patients to do urine tests every 3 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't use them then. I would flatly.
They're free.
I don't care.
I don't.
Health is another one that requires.
But realistically, if you're on any prescription,
right?
But realistically, if you're on any prescribed medicine, it's the doctor's obligation to follow you on that prescription. If they write you a prescription for anything, they want to see you every 3 months to see how you're doing on that prescription and keep notes in your file and make sure things are going right.
So I like what doctor does that. Mine sure the fuck don't. She's got me on Tramadol. She's had me on Tramadol. She doesn't give a shit. If I don't go back to get more, she doesn't phone me to say, hey, your prescription's due. You better come and get it. If I go in and I don't ask for it, she doesn't say, hey, you need to take this Tramadol, Buscopan, or whatever else that she's given me or prescribed for my colitis. She never forces me to take any of these drugs.
Well,
it's not like she's
to me isn't a very good doctor, because I mean, I would want my doctor.
I don't want her pushing drugs on me. I'm glad she doesn't phone me up and say, hey, do you want your opioids? It's 3 months is due. You know what I mean?
No, but if you're taking them, then it's their obligation to follow you. That's my point. I'm not saying to push it on you. If you're getting prescribed a med that you are taking on a regular basis, the doctor's obligation to follow you on that med, no matter what the med is. So if we're saying cannabis is med, then it has to go the same way.
Too many things to take care of. We can't follow you around like a child. It's your obligation as a patient to go back to that doctor and follow up on your own health.
If you're not asking for a renewal, like my doctor, when I go in, he reviews my medications with me.
Yeah, well, that's why.
And if you're not getting renewals, you're not taking your medication. Like that's pretty simple to.
Yeah.
And that's why.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who it was that was saying, but the patients have to take responsibility for their own health and wellness.
Yes.
But when they put together a team of professionals, so for example, your family practitioner, your cannabis doctor, and whatever specialists you're utilizing, these people are working as a team effort for your health and wellness, but you need to be the director of that team.
For sure. But you have to participate as well.
That's right. It's your health and
doctors
wellness.
that are willing to participate, and most of them aren't. I'll tell you, my doctor here signed my general practitioner signed my ACMPR. When I went back to get my renewal in February, she told me, no, you're going to be able to have legal marijuana in 3 or whatever months it was, or 6 months. I'm not signing your ACMPR because you'll be able to get 30 grams and you're only need 10 a day. And she told my husband and I both that. And this is my general practitioner that signed my cannabis license prior to. There's no team effort here. If I don't go to her in 6 months, nobody phones me to say, hey, you haven't been to the doctor for a while. Like, that's what I mean. Patients take responsibility for that. But she refused. Flat out. No way.
That's when
and she had already signed yours previously.
Yeah, and the ones that are taking responsibility for that and are taking an active role and being involved in their patients' lives and saying, I want to see you every 3 months and follow up and see how you're doing with that. We can't condemn them for doing that if we're pitching that our doctors aren't.
So, when you guys were at the OCS stores, did you see any pre-rolled tubes?
Did you see that the government's giving a course on rolling your own joints?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I posted about that earlier. I saw it and just thought that was absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, learn how to roll it.
Let's see if
we don't know.
So what do they want? What are they selling a joint for?
Joints are going for $15.98 or some stupid
what?
thing.
Oh my good God!
No.
Government agency is offering a joint rolling session. KiloanaNews.com.
Well, I guess their joints are what 3/4 of a gram somewhere around.
In the OCS store, the joints are just under a gram, and they're like $15 for a pre-rolled corn.
Are they coners?
Yeah, the cones.
What kind of papers?
I have no idea. They have different manufacturers, so they come from all different LP strains of weed of these pre-rolls, and you can buy single joints or 3-packs. And I mean, some of the 3-packs are like $90.
Oh,
I was gonna say 45.
Yeah.
Cal, you're killing
I
me.
haven't heard any
It's going right in my face, darling.
feel from this weed.
No, I don't want any. It's going in my face.
Have any of you
Sorry, guys.
heard how like the consumers are feeling from this marijuana that they all purchased? Has anyone given a review on any
I
of
feel
it?
wonderful.
Anywhere?
In Ontario, we're still waiting to get it. We got to order it and wait,
I'm
right?
smoking illegal marijuana.
You have to review it the moment you get it.
Well, I tried to play Joker.
I am using illegal marijuana that I purchased at a medical marijuana dispensary.
Yeah. Well,
And I
went
will
on it
continue to do so.
and I couldn't do it. I went in and I bought a single gram of 4 different companies. I picked one brand from 4 different companies that were in there, and I thought, okay, I'm going to try these 4 different ones, right? And I went through it, and I went to the checkout. Well, they only take Visa. They don't take free Visa debit, so I can't order because I don't have Visa.
Well, I just got to the OCS site now, and they're telling us that the delivery is going to be approximately 5 business days, 1 to 5 business days.
So, hang on. So that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. You won't receive your cannabis till Monday or Tuesday if the post office isn't going straight.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Well, I guess some of them are listed as having private couriers. I don't know, but from my understanding, it's coming through the post
some
office.
are using major couriers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
CPS is chosen Canada Post. So, if you live if you're in Ontario, it's Canada Post.
Ontario is chosen Canada Post. Is that what it just said?
Yeah.
Are they? Does anybody know if they're going to get an alternative courier? I know for medical, we always have Purelator as a backup, or even FedEx.
I think you probably have a choice. You'd have to look at the website and go through the order.
They'll sub in Purelator. That's what they'll do. That's what they do with medical. It automatically jumps from Canada Post to Purelator.
What
Canada Post goes
what
on
happened
strike.
to Canpar?
Purelator's owned now. Well, no, Canpar's gone, but Purelator's now owned by Canada Post too.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
So I'm not sure how that's done.
Yeah,
they're independent, but they're still owned by the same corporation.
Yeah,
are they under the same union? Are they under the same union now? Oh, it's a different contract. Okay, that's interesting.
So listen, guys. I think we're getting to the end here, and I want to make sure that everybody gets a final word in there. Can we keep it to like a minute, though?
Yep.
So, Al, this was your brainchild, yours and Kim's, so I'll let you two start. Why don't you let the ladies first, and then you can go.
I think I spoke pretty much everything that I wanted to say. I just want to thank everybody for joining us here tonight. I think it was a great discussion from many people on this station that live in various places across the country, many points of view. We brought up a lot of points tonight, and we can see there is definitely work to be done, but it is a good day.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
And,
my objective was to get together and discuss the legalization. We talked about that as well. We touched on other situations and subjects as well, which is good. And I'm sort of hoping that maybe down the road we can do this again as just something every once in a while and do an open just to do a discussion period.
Yeah. Gab session.
Yeah, we got session.
Even a wake and bake.
Yeah.
Rise and shine. Cannabis conversations.
Rise and shine. I'm changing wake and bake to rise and shine.
There you go. I'd like to say thank you to those who aren't with us right yet. Passion for doing some music this afternoon, and I think if he's around, he'll still do some more music after. And of course, Dr. Ira Price for joining us here at Ganjahnistas today. It was a little smoky for him, but he made it.
And it was good for him to take his time. It's a doctor. Middle of the day to come. Yeah.
Kudos to him.
It was. He had he's got a guest next week from being here. So
good. There you go.
Nice. Yeah, he had fun. So I think that if there's nothing else that anybody wants to add, we're going to wrap this.
There you go.
Okay.
I do. I'd like to thank everybody from coast to coast to coast that worked towards this legislation. We've worked for the last 10 years, many of us a little longer than that. So there's pioneers before I came in 2007. We lost some people along the way. But whether your voice was big or whether your voice was small in this, whether you just went out and joined into a global marijuana march or you joined in a 420 rally, whether you wrote a letter to your MP or you didn't, I want to thank everybody because, this is historic. So that's all I have to say.
Absolutely.
We should all blow everybody a kiss, too. Mwah.
No, I don't think we're done yet, Al. I think we got more people.
No, I know. No, I was just continuing. Go ahead, Irene.
Okay.
I was just saying, yeah, absolutely. A shout out to all the patient advocates and all the activists that have gotten us this far. It's, one small step in the battle, but it's definitely I guess to paraphrase, it's a giant leap for the leaf.
It is.
Yep.
Yes, it is.
We're headed towards a really good time here as long as we really push that education and empower the people. I think we're going to see some tremendous movement in the next couple of years on the industry. Fight for privatization.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Al, did you have any final words?
Alicia, she spoke.
Oh, it was Alicia? I'm sorry.
No, I'm just blending in. I just want to send big love to everyone who made a contribution. And I want everyone to start educating themselves on our rights and enforcing those rights and knowing those rights, because with all of these new legislations comes a whole whack of new things that can be used against our civil rights. And so we need to ensure that we know what they can and cannot do. And that goes with the medicinal side too. If they try to pull the wool over our eyes, we'll be ready with litigation. So much love to everyone. And thanks for your thanks for being you and finding your path with cannabis and healing yourself and having a beautiful, brilliant story. So thanks. And thanks for everything we all do with the radio. So much love.
I'd like to thank all of you for sticking with me, as well as those who are still around in the back room, as Kelly and Brian and Dean and other Kelly. I've been doing this 11 years, and I've watched everything unfold, and now we're here. So tomorrow's a new day. We've already had somebody get pulled over in a car, so don't be stupid.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's just
mitigate.
Needless bullshit. So if you're smart, you don't go out and go to the bar and get drunk and then get in your car. Don't do that at the lounge or your buddy's place or whatever. Use some sensibility. Don't hurt. It's not worth it.
Common sense. Leave law logic.
And my understanding is they've said on the news that if you see somebody who's smoking a joint and then getting into the car, that's a reason to call the police.
Yes, but you know what? I also saw a police department, I can't remember who it was, posted a tweet that said, if you see somebody smoking cannabis, don't call 911.
That was Timmons.
Was
that
it
was
Timmons?
me and Timmons. Yeah.
That's our Kim girl.
You'd be surprised how many people waste public resources phoning about their neighbors and the smell of marijuana.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
That was our
kudos to them.
Did you see Sam on the front door or the front steps of the Vancouver Art Gallery protesting against the pro-pot rally that was going on? One guy standing up there saying, marijuana kills brain cells. And it was one man standing up there with balloons and a little table standing on the front steps. I'm not kidding you. You can find probably pictures. You can probably see pictures on Facebook. But yeah.
Sorry, I'm calling the dog.
It was brilliant.
It's getting really loud in here. Everybody's chatting and stuff. Sorry.
Okay. Just thank you guys for participating in tonight's show, and we gotta keep showing up rallies, keep educating people, and keep working for change. That's for sure.
Well, we'll be at the GMM regardless.
Yeah, and remember, it's not one person; it's millions of us that did this.
It is. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Amen.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for listening on and off all day and on and off all 11 years. And we'll be back.
Cheers. So hopefully we gather again soon.
I'm back on Friday, and I can't remember who I'm with. Well, thank you.
There you go.
Kim, I'll catch you tomorrow for our show.
There you go.
I'll be on with you tomorrow, Irene.
Right on.
All
Take care,
guys.
everyone.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey.
So what are you doing? Nothing. Why not?
Trying to get on this Lifestyle Radio website.
Sounds like a cool website.
Yeah, it's alright. Oh, wait, I might have it.
You might have it.
You're listening to Lifestyle Radio.
The opinions expressed during this show are those of the individual participants and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of their associated organizations or Lifestyle Radio.